So I said at the very beginning, we're just going to chat like pals, pretty much, but we're going to mostly talk about this song. Yeah, I'm excited to get into it and answer questions. I think probably a lot of the questions are going to be good startups or leads into what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's good. But is there anything before we look at questions you wanna chat about? Or
Man, I just read a comment that said like the Red Sox suck. It's like I particularly give a shit about the like that type of sports, but oh my god, that is like it's easy to get distracted. But anyways,
I love that. Thankfully, I mean, I have a lot of family members, as y'all can imagine, that are pretty passionate about the Boston sports zone. But I really don't give a shit. I really don't give a shit. But I have learned to like sports much more than I ever used to. They are very fun. But I'll never I think it's really funny whenever people shit on like Boston teams, because like if they're trying to get it, it's not gonna happen.
Oh man, yeah. Honestly, like I only went to the stadium to see concerts. Like I've never went to see a game after 5 years living in there, which is like hilarious. That's like the first thing that people think of, and like I just never did.
Yeah, I relate actually. I actually don't think I've ever seen a show at Fenway before. I think I went to a game once. It was like a forced like field trip, as a kid. And it sucked so hard. It was so hot out. I couldn't, like, none of us were happy. I think the best part of it was not anything related to baseball, but we got like hosed down, it's like someone's like, giant hose, just like, it's like stupid as fuck. But it was fun. That's the only memory I have of Fenway, really. But anyway.
Hey, yeah. So how are we doing this? Okay, so first of all, I just want to say thank you guys, whoever is here in the live stream, for like being here. This is really awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here and being curious about the music we're writing and stuff like that. Also about the show, and yeah, this is fucking great. Casey, do you have the box for the Q&A, or should we just go out of?
I do, yeah. There's only one question in there so far. So peeps, we will pay attention to the chat for sure. But if you have specific questions that you want us to get to, make sure that you put it in the question box, because the chat goes fast and I have a hard time keeping up. But the first question is a pretty heavy one. Jayonri, or Jayonri. I'm not gonna act like I know how to pronounce your name, but thank you for asking the first question. You asked, how does it feel taking over the musical process for RWBY? Well, it feels good now. I mean, it's very Marty knows this, but it's very bittersweet, it's like I am still very personally grateful and happy to have RWBY still be a huge part of my life and like my career still. It feels, obviously, like many of you guys, I like grew up with the show, and I feel ridiculously connected to it. The characters feel like my babies or my sisters, if you are not comfortable with me saying babies, since they technically would be my age. I don't know, I have a lot of love for it, and I have an insane amount of love, obviously, for the music that my dad created to really like emphasize the things going on in the show. And it it kind of, as you guys know, started to get a life of its own, this music, and always kind of did have a life of its own. So, you know, it was very intimidating at first, thinking about this whole idea of like, all right, I have to just like do what my dad did, like, and as good, if not better. Like, it's insane. And it took me a while, but thankfully at school where I met Martine, like, I found out that I could write songs because I didn't know that I could do that. And, you know, my music is not my dad's. And certainly I think that getting to work with Martine on this music has been insanely cool and very helpful for me, because this type, you know, this type of music doesn't actually come very naturally to me. It came very naturally to my dad, and I like listening to sometimes, you know, like anime OP fucking shit and like soundtracks. Like, I think it's all incredible shit, but it's not the music that I typically find myself writing. So having my relationship with Martine that started in the band and taking it out of context and now getting to just like work the two of us like partners, it's been like so cool. You know, we knew it wasn't going to be like a train wreck or anything, but I think it went way better than the two of us anticipated. And like I'm at least personally now very used to the notion that like this music does not have to live up to Jeff Williams music necessarily. It's a different vibe. Like, it's still similar, and we're still talking about these characters and the story and this world, but it's different. And I'm very, very okay with that now that we've written a bunch of it.
Yeah.
You know?
To be honest, that was like the first thing that always was like in the back of my mind. Not necessarily as like the primal thing, but like just always was just like, yeah, I have to like make sure that my work stands up to like the quality of the things you did before with your dad and all of that. And I was just like, well, I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but it's just kind of like nice, like reaffirmation to know that we dropped our first tune and people seem to like liked it overall. So it took like a, you know, like a weight out of me. At least I was just like, okay, this is very different and it's very anything, but it's still super nice. Like, I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Yeah. And you know, I'll maybe save it for questions, because I know, you know, maybe people might ask, but I also think as much as the positive reception has been like insane, and obviously, as we both know, because we read comments, you know, like crazy, we've been looking to see how people are feeling, and you know, I think for some this OP kind of was a little bit intimidating. It's very insane, as we knew we wanted to make it, especially you know, just given the whole theme of the volume and everything. But I also want to let people know that like this is probably the most proggy, like insane song that you're going to hear. Like it's very trippy and psychedelic and prog and like power metal in some ways, like you know, and I do love that about it, and I think that it's really fun, and it works for it's working for the volume and everything, but you know, not all the music is going to be so intense.
Yeah, no, I do agree that this song is pretty like insane in that way.
Yeah,
Really... Or at least compared to like the ones that we're working on at the moment, yeah, this is like the more like intense and insane and proggy, and just like, I remember, this is super random, no, but there was this guy who asked me like, oh my god, like that synth in the chorus, like what the fuck is that scale, like what is that? And to be honest, I was just like, I have no idea. It's just like everything is so insane that it's just like, what the fuck.
Yeah, I know, it is insane, but yeah, it was so fun. It was so much fun to Okay, let me find another question. We do have a lot of questions now. Thank y'all for putting your stuff in here. Okay, this is one. I guess I'll talk about this now because I was excited to talk about this and people seemed very interested in it. So, the bridge part of the song that has all the voices and stuff. In a way, I of course want to keep things nice and ambiguous because I want you guys to be able to hear this and just like, you know, just thinking up on your own, like what it could be or what's going on. That I will at least confirm a few things about it. It is just me. The truth is I recorded a bunch of like ad-libbed kind of on the spot gibberish that that was just kind of sort of the vision that I had for the section. And we wanted to bring things down a dynamic wise in the song because it was like so insane up until that point. But I still thought, you know, all right, let's like keep the trippy element. Let's see what we can do with that. And you know, I have seen some people, you know, asking like if it's actual dialogue from the show. That I don't want to necessarily confirm or deny. I think there are pieces of it that could be in the show. Like there are lines that are very inspired by certain dialogue and things that go on, but it was mostly just me having digested the volume, just wanting to create a super trippy section, which, you know, Martin mixed beautifully and then Mike mastered beautifully. You know,
Dude, I was gonna say it was like you did so good in that part that I don't think I did mostly like anything to it. I just dropped them in and everything was like so well crafted that like it made sense. But I love the last sentence you say, the "don't give up," and then that was like the one thing that we had to like raise up in volume, and that was
thing that we were like, all right, bring that up in a minute.
Yeah.
Bring it up, boss. But yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know. I really have zero like voice acting experience apart from like the one thing that I did for the Blaze Blue cross tag battle video game. And I've always been interested, you know, and I lately in some of my creative work, like personally have done a little bit more of that. I won't get into the other stuff, but there will be a little more of that in some other music as well, just because I don't know, it's fun. It's just fun, dudes, you know. If we're in my head, if you're making music about something that is story based or very conceptual, like it's fun to just have a good time with it. So I'm really glad that people like that section. I kind of wasn't sure. I really kind of thought people were gonna be like, what is this? This isn't a bridge, just bullshit. And in a way it is, but I don't know. I'm just glad at how it sounded, how it turned out. Sonically, I think we needed a tiny bit of a break. So it was really cool, and I just I was excited to tell you all sort of what the thought process was behind that, and I think we were both really happy with how that turned out. So
yeah. I can see the questions now for some reason.
You want to pick
let me pick one. Let's see. All right, there is like one directed to me that I can probably answer really fast.
Go for it.
Is what is the inspiration for the guitar solo? And this is a funny story. So I had like a crisis like a couple months back, even before releasing like the RWBY stuff, because I was like really like thinking of like how much my playing is similar to like the people that I admire like guitar wise, and I was like losing my mind. I was like, oh my god, like I really need to like find my own sound or whatever. And I was working with this guitar player called Lechuga from Chile. He was doing a song with me, and he just like he taught me a couple of things of how to do that I never do before, and that was the inspiration. Is just that guy like taught me a couple of like tapping things and ways to like start phrases and soloists that I never did before. Like there's a part that is really like how to say, like non-diatonic or anything like that, and then it just goes to like at the end to the final note that is like diatonic. And I never do shit like that. I'm always playing it safe. So that's like a risky solo, and it took me a lot of tries to be able to record that. But yeah, it ended up cool.
Yeah, no, it's a fucking killer solo. I think not only did it end up really cool, but I remember in looking through some comments that I recall someone mentioning that like they were unsure of like, you know, how things were going to go, given that like one of the staples of my dad's older stuff is guitar solos, and he always has some crazy stupid fucking guitar solo that's just
True.
they were just like mad respect for that solo that you did. So, and I love it too, because you just, you know, maybe it's just stupid musician talk, but like you can really tell like the difference, you know. It's still like obviously the tones that you're using are different, like you have a very signature tone, and like you can just really tell, even though, you know, the styles of playing and writing a solo are so different. Like they're both ripping fucking like rock, like metal guitar solos. You know, a little
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate it.
Ricky.
Also, funny comment. It's funny that the guy who asked is also from Chile.
Oh,
I had like no idea. But yeah, listen to Benjamin Lechuga, or just look Letus, or I guess yeah, Lechuga in Spotify. He's dope.
fuck yeah, yeah. He seems like a nice dude, also.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pick a question.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this one also is good. Pretty nice in general. What inspired the song? Well, Marty's a big weeb, and I'm also I'm like, I tell people this a lot. I'm like kind of a weeb, but kind of a fake weeb, if that makes sense. Like I don't watch a lot of anime, regrettably so. I watch a lot of movies. I'm more of a film buff than I am like an anime buff, but like I got so into anime because of my sister, and then because of the, you know, the existence of RWBY. My dad and I started like trying to educate ourselves on anime. So I think the inspiration for the song overall, definitely, I think, at least, you know, without maybe having this, you know, specific references, like I think the two of us are just really inspired by, you know, the anime OPs that we love, that you guys probably all love too, you know, of like really pretty popular, well-known animes. For me, I've said a million times over, but like I love the music from Kill la Kill. More recently though, like that first Demon Slayer opening is absolutely nuts. So much cool. Lisa is just wild also. Her like vocal delivery is just so insane in that song. Yeah, especially that one, the Jujutsu Kaisen first one, is really good. And finally, my sister was telling me to watch Chainsaw Man for months, and I was like, I can't, I don't want, and then I finally did. And you definitely watched it before I did, and that really blew me away, like crazy blew me away. How every single outro was not only a different animation and a different style, but the music was different style, completely different band. It was almost all of it was so good. So yeah, there's something about anime OPs having this sort of good but kitschy, and I don't mean in a bad way when I say that, like theme of just being like over the top. Just fucking like over the fucking top. So in a way, I think we definitely achieved that, or kind of wanted it to have that vibe.
Yeah,
But
when you like you started like the first thing that people hear in the opening, like that's all you, like you did that all, and when you brought that to the table, I was like, bro, this could be like the most anime stupid shit ever.
yeah,
Like it was easy to build up from your idea, in regards to like it just sounded like it had to be like that.
yeah. So the and also, like, most people don't know this or realize this also, right? Because we had such a long hiatus of working on the show, and the pandemic, like the show not being worked on, all this other shit. So this song like started, at least this very, very small demo, which the first demo that we had, or I had, was that basically, obviously it sounded a little shittier, but that intro, the intro to the intro, the I found I was using Ableton. Ableton was like my music program that I work in most of the time. And so I made that on Ableton a really long time ago. Like fucking, I don't even know how long ago that was now, but it was a while ago. And I just thought, oh cool, this is weird. It's sounds like it's in a weird time signature. It could be dope if we made this. It sounded very anime to me. Even that
Yeah.
first one, plucked instrument, plucked guitar. So that's what it started with, and then after that, like it wasn't too difficult to create a more power metal kind of anime opening sound that was like, easier to, write over, sing over everything after that. So yeah, it was really cool, and I'm very happy that sort of song seed, if you will, like made it into such a big thing. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Are there any like inspirations, like particularly that you have or that you had for it that you want to note?
Uh, it's like a, how to say, like it's weird because I'm like constantly inspired by different things on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sure the reason why it could have like turned out just like a little power metal, or a little bit extra in that way, because at that time I was probably listening to a bunch of that. And it changes over time all the time. But like, I mean, definitely inspired by the thing that you initially wrote, clearly, and then some in the chat. Anyways, and yeah, just the solo that Lechuga did for my particular tune that has nothing to do with it. But those were my two like principal things. Other than that, really, like I could not like pinpoint the specific inspiration of that. I guess once we had like the visuals, right? I don't remember if they synced to the music or if we synced to the visuals, but that definitely was also like a, like a thing that inspired me a lot to be like, yeah, this is definitely an anime song. Especially when they walk, like when they walk, is just like, yeah, this has to be like anime, bro.
Yeah. No.
And it's
Sure.
so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish, like, I think once we are able to start talking about some of the other tunes that that you guys are gonna hear, or like the bits of tunes at least, it will actually be easier to pull up some more clear sound references for those tunes. For this one, I feel like it is too much of a huge conglomerate of different like source material. When I break down the different sections, like the verse, we just knew, it's in very anime OP fashion for the verse to be really funky but still have energy. So that guitar in that verse is pretty funky, and then like the sort of the pre-chorus is super, changes time signature, and it's very, very proggy, and then the chorus is just wild. Which is also why, you know, when I went about like writing a melody for the chorus, it was like, okay, this I definitely think should be something that is digestible and singable, and something that you can rock out to, because the music is just going and nuts at that point. So we definitely try our best with that.
I'm gonna respond to a really like simple question.
Yeah.
So who did the drums? The drums are fake. There's no one drumming. It's my computer, and that's the entire answer.
That's always a fun thing to answer, because people are A, not expecting it, and B, are like always a little bit disappointed, but like just kind of in disbelief. Because people were like that with my dad's stuff too. My dad programmed pretty much all of his drums, like all of them, and he just got insanely good at it. So it was really, really difficult to tell sometimes whether it was a real drummer or not. So I think you achieved that pretty well with this tune too. It's good.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Yeah, if I wasn't a guitar player, I would definitely be a drummer. It's just I cannot play drums like physically. Unless I practice, who knows? But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, especially not like this. You know, like
yeah, no, that requires like a real person. You know?
yeah. Let's see. This I've seen this a few times. This question I will kind of just answer quickly as well. So if this question you can't answer, that's okay. But if you can, how many songs will we have? I don't want to tell you the exact number of songs, but it is going to be pretty similar to what you've seen in past volumes. I mean, I think the past like 2 volumes, there was like a little bit less, but before that, it was like pretty consistent as far as like the number of songs that you were going to be getting. I don't know, for me, this season feels really like consistent. Like it feels like there's really only a couple episodes where you don't end up having our accompaniment or some kind of song accompaniment to a scene. So
that's true.
Yeah. So it's going to be a good number. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, like 22.
There's one more that I'm going to answer. And
do it.
I will let you pick another one. Who are the lyrics mostly about? Again, this is another one that I know is probably going to be a pretty common question.
About me.
It's actually about Marty. So, like, I typically, if you guys remember any of the time that my dad ever spoke about his own lyrics and how they related to characters in the series, he was pretty purposefully ambiguous about it and wanted people to be able to decide for themselves who, you know, whatever certain things were about. And so I mainly do want to keep that tradition because I think that it is much more beneficial for the viewers and the listeners to connect the dots. And it's also just fun, you know, it's fun to see, you know, what people think if people start to line up with our ideologies of what a certain song is about or who it's about, or if it's a totally new theory and it's like, oh shit, even I didn't like really see how that could be a thing. But this song, it is pretty much like you really can apply this song to a lot of the characters. I know nobody likes that answer, but it's pretty true. I will also say that in general, this volume, you know, we are going to see a lot pertaining to RWBY, and that is no secret. She just went through a lot of really fucked up shit. So we are going to have a lot of songs that, at least personally, I felt explained a lot of what she is going through. But at the same time, I don't think that means that the lyrics solely a lot of the time are about her. Like you could say that inside, I think a lot of it is, you know, parts of her sort of crazy thought process, but I think that a lot of it applies to the team, and just being very like confused as to what's going on, what are, you know, where are they, what are they going to learn from being here, is there a lesson, like what's going on, you know. So for the most part, that's what I'll say about these lyrics, and I hope you guys like them and that they made you think a little bit.
That definitely make more sense through, like, you know, when people start watching the show more and more, like as the episodes come out, like everything is just gonna be a lot more like in your face.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how to choose the questions for them to appear on like the bottom. Do I have to like mark them with a heart or something like that?
I don't know. Do you not see your questions at the bottom, like on the right?
I do, but like I don't know how to choose the one so it appears on the bottom. But anyways.
I don't know. I just clicked on it.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, anyways, I'll just talk about it. There is this question, which is actually like something I wanted to talk about. Is Ethan Roseman?
Cool.
Are you two solely doing the score as well, or is anyone else helping? So yeah, that's a pretty good question. So there is more people involved. I guess that as like the songs, as real songs with like lyrics and you know, like a regular, when I say regular, I mean like what you would expect to a song you would listen in the bus. Yeah, that's Casey and me, mostly. There are some that Casey is writing by herself, but then for the most part I also helps with that, and then for the score, it's kind of a fun, not a fun, but it's kind of like a weird story, right? So in Volume 8, it was Alex Abraham and Jeff and him and Casey asked a friend of ours called Martin de Lima, a friend of them called Peter Jones, and another one of them called Matthew Wong, and me. And they were like looking for help. So we said, hell yeah. And we started kind of just like giving a little bit of our hands out there. And then for Volume 9, Alex was taking like a step back, and he just wanted to, I think, to just rest and take a new step on his own life. I love that dude so much. He's awesome, and his music is awesome. But anyways, Martin Shippuden, sorry, I just had to fucking read that comment. You know, bro.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's someone's cousin. Anyways,
Oh my god, my phone.
I know.
Sick.
So yeah, in conclusion, now the score is made by our friend Martin de Lima, Peter Jones, Matthew Wong, and me. And I think Matthew Wong collaborated until chapter 6 or 5 on this volume, on Volume 9. And then for the last couple of episodes, I kind of did a little bit more than I would usually do. But yeah, it's a pretty collaborative like score.
Yeah.
It's like, I think when the soundtrack comes in due time, there's not gonna be like a song where, like score-wise, where I'm the only one in the music. It's always gonna be either 2 people or 3 people or even 4 people doing the same like song form. So yeah, and you can see that on the credits too. So like, if you pay attention to it at the end of every episode, there is like music by Casey and Martin, and then it says score by, and then you'll notice that the score is made by like a bunch of other dudes.
Yeah. Along with that, to this question real quick, they asked who mixed and mastered inside. So Martin mixed it himself, and our good friend Mike Madeira mastered this song. So he's great. He has mastered Atomic Guavas. No, not Atomic Guavas, but he oh yeah, I guess I guess he usually is the mix man for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But he can master as well, and he is fucking great at it. So we were really happy to have him master it.
Also, real quick, did a little bit more than I usually do. Are we going to hear Martin sing?
Oh,
Oh, hell no, man.
you should go for it, bro.
And I'm 23 for, I cannot pronounce this shit. Like, my brain is too, like, not awake to pronounce it. But yeah, I'm 23. And thank you so much for that compliment. Means a lot.
Fuck yeah. I'm just looking through all these questions, man. This one is good. Did we work on the lyrics first or the instrumentals? Instrumentals all the way. That is typically how we've kind of always done things. I am very, very comfortable top lining over stuff, which means, you know, basically to get some kind of instrumental demo down first. And then for me, the melody comes first, and then the lyrics. Sometimes whatever gibberish I sing to come up with the melody kind of stays, like keywords or some phrases will stay, but for the most part, the lyrics come after and melody comes first, instrumentals before anything. So that's how we do. That is how we do a lot of the OK Goodnight material as well, and I like it. It works well for me. Someone asked also, how long did it take to write the song? Which is kind of tricky, but I also feel like we should be able to answer that.
I feel like because it's a song, or because it was a song that was meant to be for the show, right? It like, I don't know how like long it took, but there were moments definitely we could have just finished, but we didn't because we were like, you know, waiting for the production team to do their thing. So I guess like we could have probably done that in a couple months, yeah, while simultaneously work on some other shit in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically talking, I feel like we could have done that way faster. It's just like because of this is for a show, so you have to wait for the visuals to like, you know, be somewhat ready and so on. And then once someone else confirms that they like that, then you move on to the next thing and so on. So it's a little, not too different, but just a little bit different than just writing a regular song. At least that's how I felt about it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It didn't take long in conclusion, like it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, especially with a song like this, like clearly the original song doesn't deviate, you know, a huge amount from like the bit that you hear as the intro to the show. So, and it's not super long, you know, so I think it wasn't super hard to finish the song once we started with the intro. It was sort of just figuring out, you know, how to connect everything, what we might have wanted to do for a bridge, which we ended up with the sort of weird, trippy spoken word bridge. And it was fun writing that, the transition out of the chorus into the second verse. I think that instrumental sounds great, and it's very prog. Very prog, very metal sounding and pretty dark, and I like it. But yeah, I think both of us, this isn't to say, of course, that we aren't like taking all of the time that we need to make sure that the songs are as good as they can be, but we work relatively fast together. It definitely depends on the project, depends on the song, but we, for some reason, are very good at like brainstorming together and coming up with a sound that we need. And, you know, we each sort of, you know, we'll then step away and take our own separate time to come up with, or, you know, finesse whatever, you know, whatever part we are gonna play in like writing the song. And sometimes even, you know, one of the cool things is like top lining, like writing the melody and lyrics and stuff after already having like a basic instrumental idea. Is during a writing session, Marty can be really fleshing out whatever the instrumental part is that he wants to record, like on guitar, say, or recording the drums, just something. And while he is doing that, I can be listening and brainstorming what I am envisioning for like a melody or for lyrics. So that's sort of part of the process, that those little breaks that sometimes can take a lot of time actually help to like speed things up in a weird way.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's interesting, and I think we've been just been really fortunate to have been having like a lot of fun like writing this music, you know, and like really just trying to feel no pressure at all as to like what it is, you know, what the expectations are and like what it's supposed to sound like. It's more like, let's just write a fucking tune that we like, that's inspired by things we like, and like, you know, make sure that it makes sense for whatever the scene is, or, you know, what have you. And just vibe.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just gonna remind people that if you like to ask like more questions and stuff, to do it on the box or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see like a lot in the chat, but there's not been so many new ones in the thingy.
Yes. I've been going back because there's a bunch of, this is random. This one is Kelton. Hello, Kelton. And he asks if we can become a character, what would we choose? I assume we mean a RWBY character, right?
Or be a free in Remnant or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know, Marty. I don't know if you necessarily have a favorite character, but I mean, I definitely, because I've been with the show for so long, I've definitely like, I don't know. I've juggled my favorite characters. I think the one that I relate to a lot and just kind of wish that I could be her is probably Yang. I really love Yang. There's just always been something about her, like the pep in her step kind of, and her lightheartedness and like buffoonery that I've always loved. And I think after like the Volume 4 arc, where, you know, she lost her arm and had to figure out how the fuck she was going to like go on and continue to be herself and have that positivity. I think that it made her as a character all the better. And like, I feel like she now has that like negative brute force when she needs it, but she's still, for the most part, really like happy-go-lucky. She's just like, she's gonna do what the fuck she's got to do to get going. So I like her. And I think Neo has been like my other favorite character for a long time, and everybody knows that. She's just,
and people seem to like ask you all the time about her in particular too.
I know. For some reason, like, I don't know, the whole time that I have been a part of RWBY, like, people have connected me to Neo. And then there was that bit where I dyed my hair.
I remember.
And that just elevated it like a shit ton, which I you know, should have seen coming. That I do love her character in general, like throughout the show that we've seen so far, like even like literally just from the start, the first few volumes, like, you guys know, like a character that is ruthless and like brutal, but like mute, like doesn't speak, like doesn't like, is only able to show their personality through movement and facial expressions and things like that. I mean, I love that. It's like an immediate yes for me. So I've always really liked Neo, and yes, I voiced Neo in Blaze Blue, which means I did noises, and it was really fun and weird. I just got to do.
It's funny. I was somewhat like 1% involved with that recording too.
You were there. You were there. Marty was there, and he had to try to not laugh at like me recording booth just going like, huh! Like it was.
So funny.
But it was so much fun. It was awesome.
I was gonna say my favorite character is definitely a spoiler, so you guys gotta wait and then I'll respond that question. It's someone who has not appeared yet in Volume 9, so like if you continue to watch, then I'll let you guys know.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we can do another one of these. I do agree. There is a character in this volume that I really like a lot, but yeah, it's like not. Yeah, it's not something we can. It's not something we can talk about. So we're not going to. So don't even worry about it.
Exactly. So just change the question now.
Let's see. Let's answer. It's silly and fun, and it has to do with our careers. So Olivia, I believe, she's asking what my major was in college. Before COVID, she wanted to be an opera vocal major, and I didn't read the whole question. And now seeing you writing and listening to you inside, it's making me want to audition. That's awesome, dude. You should totally do that. Yeah, COVID was insane. And speaking of, COVID definitely impacted, like some of our educations and everything, and like the way we had to learn. So that was a huge bummer and a huge pain in the ass, not gonna lie to you. But we can say what our respective majors were. So I went to Berklee College of Music, for those who don't know. I graduated in 2021, and my major was in professional music, which is kind of like a major that people will pick if they want to do multiple things or learn a little bit about multiple majors, if that makes sense. So I did professional music, pro music for short, with a concentration in songwriting. So I took a lot of classes to explore songwriting because at the time that I started at Berklee, really just needed to figure out whether that was the career path I was going to go for, or whether it was something I was passionate about doing. And so I certainly learned that. And now that I know that about myself, I, of course, have regrets like any of us might. I kind of wish that I focused a little more as well on like music production and electronic production, because that's what I've realized serves me best. And it's that my personal kind of songwriting, that's where I feel like I thrive and feel the most connected to the music that I am making. But it's okay, because we can continuing to learn. And yeah, Marty, what was your major?
I also went to Bunkley College of Bunks.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, it's called Contemporary Writing and Production, which is basically like just a random soup of everything that has to do with writing and like arranging music, whether it's on your laptop or like with real musicians. I don't know, it's weird, but like it was really what I liked. And I loved it, to be honest. Like I think the program was really well built, and the people I met, everything was like super nice. I also had the chance to graduate before COVID, so it worked out for me in the way in which I could still use like the college facilities to do like a bunch of shit that I've never been able to do otherwise, like record like real people playing real music. And yeah, and then my concentration was basically like doing music for film and video games, but that was kind of like a little concentration. I just discovered that I really wanted to get into that, like mostly at the end. It wasn't necessarily what I had envisioned for myself at first, but then it was something I really started to like. So I really got into that, and here we are.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if it wasn't because of college, I wouldn't have met you. So still dope.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I say this to pretty much anybody that I talk to about Berkeley and about college. I mean, Berkeley is such an incredibly diverse school. Like, I mean, 60 something percent, I think, still of the student population are international students. And that was a huge draw for me. And so I think the most beneficial thing that I got, which I know a lot of my friends could say the same, that I got from Berkeley, was the people that I met. And it's funny because I I still feel like I didn't really know a lot of people, or I didn't necessarily meet like and connect with a lot of the people at school or in my class, but like the people that I did meet, you and the band, and evidently a lot of the people that I lived with on the floor of my dorm the first year, they all became like my friend group. And it was I don't know, I was just super blessed to like be in the right place at the right time, meeting people that I really really liked right off the bat. So that was my favorite part about Berkeley.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I thought it was the coolest thing ever, but it's also kind of like a curse in some way, because you know, everyone being from somewhere else just means they're gonna go somewhere else after.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So
That was
it's kind of cool to end up with friends all over the world, but at the same time, it's just like, well, now what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very true. And like, I think a lot of the people end up staying in the US if they, you know, if they aren't from the US, and they end up going to like, you know, LA or New York, or staying in Boston. Or at least I knew a lot of people that did that, so that's cool. But I also had friends that went back to, you know, their countries that they were from, and I miss them a lot. But at the same time, the upside to that I'll spin is now you have even more of a reason to go see,
like, go places and do things.
yeah, which is so cool. I mean, having the money and the means is the whole other whole other thing. But
Rooster teeth money, you know.
There was a question that I wanted to answer. Yes, here it is.
Bro, I stopped getting updates on the questions. I don't know why, but yeah. It's all in your control.
Yeah. There are a lot of questions like from forever ago that were never answered, that I still have up here. So this one is, does the rest of the soundtrack also have more metal vibes? Which I want to answer because it's fun. Like yes and no.
I mean, yes, it's just right. So like on my end, which is something good, but also something like bad. It's just like I always end up writing something that has some type of element of metal, even when it's not what the song needs. My first instinct is always to go a little towards that direction, because it's personally what I do the most. And that's why I say it's something good, but also like a little bit of a curse. So yes, my short answer is yes, there is more metal, but still I think the most metal song is the one you guys heard already. The other ones still have distorted guitar, heavy drums, but it's like a lot of hell yeah, I'm glad it reminds you of Periphery.
That's great.
That's great, because I love them. But yeah, it's like a subdued version of what you guys heard, if that makes sense. Would you agree, Casey?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting question, because then we start thinking about subgenres and like all the different influences within a genre, right? I mean, that's sort of why I think, you know, you're talking about a lot of the time, like you will sort of end up writing something that sounds metal, but then, you know, depending on everything that goes around it, like it could not sound like metal at the same time. So yeah, so I would say there are definitely tunes here that you're going to hear, quite a few of them, that are pretty fucking rockin'. They're pretty rock, they're pretty metal, but the influences and like the bands in which like, you know, we used as references for certain vibes of certain songs kind of deviate from just being necessarily like just metal. So, you know, I again probably will like get into more specific references later once people hear more of the music, but there's a whole lot of vibes in a lot of the songs. I mean, you guys already heard a little bit of something in a trailer that has very, very electro swing.
Oh yeah.
And all I'm gonna say is that shit's fun. It's really fun. So
fucking fun.
so I think we are definitely really influenced by metal still this volume, but because we are in such an interesting, like, wacky environment, like, we were just not afraid to kind of go out of the box and, you know, make a lot of these songs sonically very trippy or very, like, weird as far as, you know, genres go. So yeah. I also saw in the comments somebody asking if we were getting an end credit song, or if they were getting an end credit song, and they asked
definitely
tomorrow. And I don't know if that means like you're just talking about like after, during the credits for like the second episode, but no.
Yeah, tomorrow. Fuck yeah.
But yeah, so you will not be getting an end credit song tomorrow, but you will be getting an end credit song
at the end of the season, like at the last episode of the season, right? Or I assume so.
Yeah. And I can't speak, like, I don't want to speak too soon about anything, but we have that song written, and you know, it's not entirely fine, but it needs a little bit of work, but it's like both of our like favorite
yeah. I'll tell you that. The end credit songs better be gent. well
it's not exactly that.
Put it more like ambient gent.
If there would be like a vibe to describe it, it is like ambient indie rock epic.
With gent.
Math
and
gent.
Meth gent.
But yeah, no, it's good. It is a song that we put a lot of feels and a lot of passion into. So we're really excited for you guys to hear that one.
Yeah.
Do you see question that you want to answer, anything, or do you want me to keep fishing?
Well, it's the thing, like I can see the chat, but I cannot see like I stopped getting updates on the questions from the box thing.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's all right.
Unless I see like one that I'm interested in the chat, then you should keep going for them.
Okay. One here. What's your favorite RWBY opening?
Mine?
I'm gonna make you because
Rising, I think. Or at least like
I feel like that's my favorite too, right? I feel like that's why we went for.
That's volume 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then yes, like definitely.
Yeah. I also really, really like Rising. Like as far as like songs go, Rising is definitely one of my favorite songs overall, like soundtrack wise, but like it's more so the opening. Like Rising as the intro, you know, the first whatever verse, pre and chorus that you hear that goes along with the visuals, I think was so good.
Agreed.
And it was really fun to sing, and I loved the way that my dad kind of tried to deviate from other like or from like the general sound, at least with like that first verse. I think he started working a little bit like more in the details of like the production, and I loved it. I loved it so much.
Oh yeah. I also remember, this is just like a random memory, right? But like I remember I was like working at Berkeley at the like labs, and for some reason like I was talking to your dad. Like I was like literally just chatting with your dad about random stupid things, and he's just like, hey, do you want to, like, like now that we're sharing music, do you want to hear the soundtrack? And I was like, sure. It's not supposed to come in like a month or something like that, but he sent it to me like beforehand.
Yeah.
And I was asking him for feedback on like, how to treat your vocals on like the first OK Goodnight album or some shit like that. And the first tune I heard was Rising, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like this is so much doper.
No, but like no, it is a good one. I mean, at the same time, like I think when you're talking about like the vocal production of that song too, like it sounds so good and so different because of how different vibe is for the song. Like I think, I mean, a lot of my dad's, like a lot of the OPs, like there's so much going on in most of the song that like sometimes it can be really tricky to get that vocal production really right because you want to have a good balance of everything, and you want vocals to be really upfront, but so it's pretty just challenging in general, I would say. So I feel like that's definitely why like that one just fucking kills. The other one that I think is like another favorite of mine is probably the one right before it, the Triumph. It feels like people don't. Well, that's not true. It's not true. I feel like I don't know. I remember like pretty much with I mean, honestly, every single OP, every single opening to this day, even like with Inside, the general reception that you see in the first few days is people saying that they don't like it. They're like, this is not as good as last year's. I don't like it. It's weird or like something. It doesn't. And they'll compare it to like, volume 1 or 2. And then in like the next few days to weeks, like people end up loving it. Eventually, it just grows on people, which I think makes a lot of sense, especially given the manner of like, my dad's music and his style. And I think that kind of rang true with Inside as well. I think like it definitely intimidated a lot of people at first, and I'm just hoping that it grows on people. But I didn't see nearly as much of that as I remember.
I have a question for you though that just popped into my mind. Is like, how do you deal with, like bad comments or like bad criticism? I mean, this is my first time working on RWBY, right? So like, I still don't really like grasp the sense of how that feels like. But you've been working on this for so long that I don't know how do you deal with it? It's so interesting.
I mean, it's definitely like I'm right with you there in the sense that like it will feel different now that it's more in terms of like, okay, now I'm writing the stuff, with you. So, it's nice that it's as a team too. So we both take equal,
equal shit.
Yeah. But, I guess technically, as much as it feels a little bit more elevated now, it also kind of seems like some people didn't even know how to distinguish what my role was beforehand, like before this volume. Some people thought that I've always been a part of the writing. Like they think I've always written or co-written the songs with my dad, which is interesting because like technically the only way that you can tell is that my name has always been a feature, not like in the fucking, you know, the writing of the song or as an artist name. So that kind of makes sense. But you know, I get it. Like I don't know if I weren't a musician also, like if I would have been able to tell. But I don't know. Like it's still like it hurts to see negative comments sometimes, but it depends on what the manner of the comment is. You know, like I think you know that too. Like if it's someone that's giving like what of course it's all going to be based on like bias too, right? Like if it's someone that I think they are giving valid criticism or like they are saying things to back up their feelings that like make sense to me, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, could have thought about that. But that's just not what you see most often. Most often the comments look like trolls. Like like we've laughed in the past like week or two or like week about a couple of like random hate like comments that we've seen that are just funny. Like
those are funny. They're really fun.
Really funny. Like there have been multiple comments where I see someone just say, "This sounds ass." And it's like, I don't know, it's just so fucking like random. Like it's such a random word to use, and like it's that exact phrasing too, is "this sounds ass."
Honestly, my respect, like
Yeah. And you know, like me and you probably can be the first, you know, to recognize and understand that like inside in particular this vibe of prog and like odd time signatures and like feeling the displacement in a lot of the arrangement like is gonna, you know, not everyone's gonna like that. I mean, but at the same time, all I can say about that is like then you wouldn't really have liked it when my dad had done it before. I mean, my dad did that with a lot of his music, but more so with harmony rather than like necessarily like rhythm. He still did it with rhythm, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I don't know. I think most of the time the hate comments are just funny. And even if it is criticism that I feel is valid, I try not to take it to heart because I know how hard I worked and I know how hard Marty worked to like make this, you know, the song that it.
Like, if you are if you put out music that you feel like you did the best that you could, even if it's not like, well, I don't believe in perfection. I think that's unachievable. But like, if you do the best you can at that certain time, it's just like, I don't know, bad comments. Just kind of like you just have to take them because there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like as far as you're doing the best of yourself, I think that's as much as you could ask. Mm-hmm. And for the person asking about the time signature in inside, it's 4/4. And then the bridge is like on a weird 7/8 kind of thing, but like this sounds so nerdy, right? But like I purposefully tried to make it feel like it was a weird 7/8. So that's like I get the confusion in there. But yeah, and El Rar. That's a friend of mine that plays golf, and it's just like a fun dude. What's up, Santi?
Same.
Yeah.
Someone commented about this. This is super random, but someone just said like, just remember the chaos that was caused by The Truth, which was on, what is it? Volume 8? Yeah. Right? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, like I never really publicly spoke about that because I didn't really necessarily feel like it was my right, because I didn't write the song or the, you know, what is there of the song, and like I didn't really know necessarily how much my dad wanted to like talk about it necessarily. But like, you know, I'm glad that like what was written for the show and for the scene got out there. I knew people were not going to be happy that, you know, you didn't get a whole song, but the truth is, like, what would have been and what I think we had envisioned for that song would have been a huge undertaking. And at that point already that we were at in volume 8 with, like, you know, and the point that my dad was at with like writing the music, it was just too much. It was too much. And, you know, like, he was already like doing his best with writing the rest of the soundtrack. And like, to be honest, like, as much as it disappointed people, like, no regrets, because it would have been much more stressful. And I think you can also, at least I can kind of clearly tell what would have happened with the song. Like, when I hear it, it's very, it wanted to be a very Stephen Sondheim, like Sweeney Todd kind of dark, very musical-esque tune. And to be honest, as much as it maybe would have like given you some insight into certain characters or whatever, like, it would have mostly been a very fun song. Like, obviously the themes,
Yeah.
but like, it would have been for fun. And you know, maybe at some point way down the line, like, you know, I will have the balls to like maybe write a whole song for that. But musical writing is not really my forte. I've honestly been more curious as to, like, I want somebody else to take that bit that's there and make it something, and make it, you know, what.
Just kidding. Like, yeah, like an EDM remix.
Oh, yeah.
I know, that would be like insane.
Fire. But yeah, like, I mean, that's sort of part of what this, hold on, there was actually, I'm going to answer this question. It was from a long time ago, but it's from now. You said the music, this volume is different than your dad's, but has his work on previous volumes influenced your music in any way? And it definitely has. I mean, there's really no way that it couldn't. Like, I technically have just been a session vocalist with RWBY, with this job, mostly for the whole time, like, since I was a kid. So, you know, listening to and learning melodies that my dad has written and then coming into the studio and performing them and recording them, you know, the way that he envisions it, like, that, without a doubt, like, in my mind, grapes has caused, you know, has influenced me in different ways. And I think especially with the RWBY music, but pretty much in, you know, music in general.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you are you and you sound like you. So like, it doesn't matter whether you do music for a show or for yourself or for whoever. It's just like, there's that little thing that just like sounds like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, you know, just like, once again, just to touch upon it, like, because I can't help it. Like, you know, it has been a very bittersweet sort of takeover and like transition, you know, getting to do the music for this volume. Like, thankfully the volume felt so different from previous ones that it was pretty smooth getting to just like write, you know, in a similar style, but also different and new. But like, there is fucking no discrediting. We could talk for hours, days, years about like the fucking shit that my dad accomplished with this music. I mean, like, I think now that he is like retiring, like, not to say it, but people are able to like really reflect on just how much music he wrote. But it was insane. Like, it was insane how much music he wrote.
Dude, yeah, the amount of music, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So in a way, that's, you know, it's mostly a positive. Like, all that music is out there, and I feel like his fucking RWBY legacy is insane, and it's, you know, if you miss his writing, you can go back to like not even one album, but like fucking including stuff if you want to, that classic shit. Like, I mean, there's 10, you know, 10 records, if not like 11, with his work, you know. So it's crazy. I love that. I love the mark left. And you know, I think we are doing everything that we can with this volume to continue certain traditions, whilst, you know, not in any way like, you know, being disrespectful towards like what it was that he was able to accomplish. At the same time, you know, I think both, not only was he ready, but like I was ready, and everyone was really welcoming to the idea of RWBY's music sound just changing and like evolving, because we are on the ninth volume, baby girl. That's 8 volumes of music that, you know, is in itself very much evolving, and you can hear the different improvements, the different explorations of sounds in every one. But this one is like for sure very different, and I think it's for the better, just so that we can continue on with like the RWBY legacy, and like hearing the representations of the story and characters in new ways. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's like it's always like, I don't know, healthier and way more exciting to write music that is like somehow still in your own like creative brain or whatever, trying to like imitate something that someone else did, whether you love it or not. It's always just like, I don't think it's the nicest way to approach writing music anyways. Or at least in the end, like
shout out to Maggie. Yes, if there are any pretty girls that I miss, and yes, Maggie, I miss you, my beautiful girlfriend. But yes, continue.
No, I was just saying, like, as I said before, like I was pretty intimidated with just like, you know, the fact that I like, yeah, like I have to write music for something that has been going on for so long, and as you said, it has like 8 albums already. So I was like, all right, let's go. But yeah, I just, you know, like if I take inspiration from what you and your dad did, is obviously, well, I did, but I always try to keep it not so close to me, in the sense of like, I feel like if I try to imitate things, it's just not gonna do good, and that's when I'm afraid people will be more like aggressive with their criticisms. I feel like if you just do what you are yourself, like there's no way it's gonna fail, and whoever likes it, well, like, then there's nothing to do about it. But like
yeah, no, agreed. Like I think that's so true. I think that 1,000%, if we tried to just make my dad's music, like everyone would be able to hear that.
Yeah,
like,
and also being a copycat is like not our thing for sure.
You know, and like also I can imagine that maybe if, you know, the people that didn't know that I didn't really play a part for the most part in like the writing of the music before, maybe they wouldn't realize that like this departure was going to be a departure, because, you know, but yeah, it not only is it always good to just keep things new and fresh, like despite however, you know, you might feel about things. Obviously we all like hate change, and change can be really fucking difficult. Also, you know, theme of the volume. But like it's definitely for the better, and I think that the perspective that we've taken, which is a lot more fruitful in a way, is like hearing and being inspired by my dad's prior works, just like any other artist that we love and appreciate, so that we're like taking it into account, and you can feel that in what we're writing, but like it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a copy. It doesn't feel like, you know what I'm saying?
I wanted to respond to a question that I've seen a
Yeah.
lot from the same person. Sorry for not answering before, but yeah, it's just been a couple of times. Will you be writing scores for other Rooster Teeth shows? I'd be open to, but just like the opportunity has not presented itself. But like Rooster Teeth, hit me up, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, we currently are not, I mean, realistically, even if we had like, if we were working on things, like it would be very possible that we wouldn't even be allowed to talk about it yet. Like if it was something you didn't already know about. But at the moment, RWBY Volume 9 is what we have signed on for, and that's what we're doing. So
Correct.
but the rest of that we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, correct. And well, it's almost gonna be 9 my time, 10 your time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Should we do like a last round of questions and then go have dinner?
I am so down. I'm so down. Can do a couple.
Whoever's asked shit.
Yeah.
Ruby and non-Ruby related. Go. No, just kidding. Family friendly.
This one I'll answer one of these. This is one that I like that we could probably both answer. Which is from Angel. This is someone I went to school with. Thank you for asking. Question. They asked who are some of our biggest role models in the industry. So I kind of assume it means the music industry in general. So apart, like if we're talking about, I guess for me, I would answer this question in terms of like general role models, as in like not only do I like their music, but the way that they carry themselves and the way that they talk about the industry and things that are important to them and how it reflects in their work.
So you're gonna say James Lurie. I'm so sure of this.
Oh my god, bro! No, you're gonna say. I was gonna say Hayley Williams for sure, which people probably already know that about me. But I've always loved Hayley. I've always loved Paramore. I loved Hayley even more after she put out her own like solo album. It was eerily like something I connected with so hard because it sounds like very similar to things that I write in my own personal work. So fucking cool. I love her vibe. She's an incredible performer. Her lyricism and the stuff that she talks about is not only like super relatable most of the time, but she's just kick ass. She knows dance. So I love her. And then I don't know, probably I love Gaga. I love Lady Gaga. Even though I don't listen to Lady Gaga a whole lot anymore, like I still keep up with her, and I'm just always like so fucking impressed by everything that she does. Like the way that she was able to like just take all of the attention she was getting at the start of her career, whether it was like positive or negative, and like just fucking own it and then like show the world that she could act, she could perform, she can do any kind of music, like pretty much any fucking genre, and she can nail it like crazy. So I like her too. There are probably a million other people that I could talk about.
It's hard to try to pinpoint it to like just a couple of people. There's always like so many. Yeah, I guess like and this is also like a constant joke we have with Casey and like our other friends, is just because like I really like this band Dream Theater, right? So every time like there is any mention of that, it's just like a whole joke. So I'm gonna spice it up and not mention them, but also mention them.
You already did it.
I feel like I have like how do I say, like people I look up to in a like realistic way, and other ones that are really like just platonic because they're like somehow, I don't know, they have like a sense of like being unreachable, which is not a bad thing, but at the same time it's just like it's two different perspectives. For me, like the guy or the musician I admire the most like currently is Pliny. It's just like he's just a guy. He writes music in his bedroom, and then he
Yeah.
just does his thing. And he's probably like one of the most like successful instrumental acts nowadays. And it's just like I don't know. Like I look up to people like that, not only for being like good people. Well, who knows, right? Like I don't know him personally, but I like to think he's a really great dude, and I don't know, like I connect a lot with his music. So I really enjoy that. And then in a more like platonic way, I guess. And this is really weird, but like Chester Bennington, rest in peace. But from Linkin Park, I don't know, like the whole idea of like I don't know when he sings, there's just like I just feel it always. Like since I was 15, since I was probably like 12 up to date. Like if I listen to any Linkin Park song, I'm like, God damn it, why does that touch me so insane?
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and yeah,
So good.
yeah, it's like so good. Honestly, like I know this is something I never like talk to like too much because I don't know why, but like probably Linkin Park was actually like the band that got me into music, which is which is pretty funny considering that then I was like, no, let's do prog.
Funny. I mean, like that was, that was like the Beatles for me. And that's such a meme within itself that like, I mean, at the same time, like I see it as a positive, but at the same time, it's very funny that like, the first music that I ever really fell in love with was like the Beatles. Like it's such a classic answer. But I mean, they developed, they were huge in my development as like a listener and as like an artist. So, you never know, man. I mean, like same with Radiohead. Like it's like it's like admitting like your devotion to bands like the Beatles or Radiohead. Like you're always gonna get like shit for it because they're like so moody or so old or generic, like whatever. But man, both of those bands,
It's what it is. Like, what are you gonna do?
no, yeah, like the both of those fucking bands, like I think they have like fucking masterpieces that like I just could listen to over and over again, like on my deathbed. And
Yeah, yeah.
um
So
no, you go. What?
I was gonna say, shall we do like a last shared question, and then like a little bit of a goodbye?
Yeah, I'm down. I have one that might be good for both of us. Did you have one?
I have not.
Okay, great. Well, this one also, I don't know when this was asked, so I apologize if this is on here anymore. But it is, do you have some music of your own that you're going to share to the public? Love you and your music a lot. Thank you.
That was like a really old question.
Yeah, might be.
But like,
But
that's a great way to end, actually.
yeah, I think it's good to plug. So yeah, I guess I'll start with myself and our sort of shared, our joint ventures. But we both do have music that is elsewhere. The first one of note is our band OK Goodnight, which most everybody knows already. That's how we're connected. Our project had a song of ours featured in the last volume. And we are coming out with new music this year. We've been working on an album for years now that we are super fucking excited about. So that album is going to come out this year. We don't have a date yet to give you, but it will be coming out and everything. So yeah, that music is fucking it's been so long. It's been such a long time coming. So I think we're both fucking pumped to get that shit out. And I also have my own music. I am going to be putting out a solo EP as well this year. I also don't have a date. but it's going to be probably sooner rather than later. I have most of the music pretty much finished. I'm just finalizing pretty much release plans, if that makes sense. So that solo EP will be coming out. It's going to be under my own name and everything. And Marty, you're that
Yeah,
cool.
people are gonna lose their shit when you release your own stuff, man. I'm so excited for it. So I'm just so excited for it. And to the person that said I love from the ground up, hell yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I've been writing like myself a lot of solo music and just trying to pull my life together and do music with more friends and more people and just trying to like venture a little bit into like a bigger music career. So yeah, I don't have any plans that are like set in stone regarding anything I'm gonna release anytime soon. But I'm working on music. I'm working with well, I'll probably have songs with Casey that are outside OK Night and RWBY and anything. Just a couple other music things. So yeah, to be honest, I love to pull up like an album for myself, full of people I really love, and other than that, yeah, just keep working on on that. see where the world takes me. Like I already gave up on my dream of being famous at 18. So
Fame is twisted, man.
yeah,
Fame.
bro, no, that's so funny. I say that really ironically, like.
Oh my God. Well, fuck yeah, dude. Excited and yeah, like I'm really we're both equally fucking pumped for you guys to hear what we've been doing for RWBY in particular and like, in the coming weeks as you get little tastes of everything, it's going to be so exciting. And I'm sure, maybe we'll do some more live streams. This was mainly because we had like a whole song out, but we're more than happy to keep talking with you about the songs that you're going to be hearing. But thank you to everyone for being interested in like our other music too. I mean, supporting us like in the way possible is fucking awesome. So
This sounds a lot like self promo, but I say it with like the best of intents. Is Casey has her YouTube channel where she has posted some videos. If you don't follow her, there you go. Just try to keep in the loop of the things, and you'll know eventually when new music is coming out. I myself have some music of my own that is already under my name. If you're gonna go listen to that and tear it apart, I'm fine with that. Yeah, so like we'll be doing things, that's for sure. We'll be doing things.
yeah.
So just go check it out if you want.
Yeah. And we haven't necessarily planned out entirely yet what we're going to do as far as like doing some behind the scenes content on like how we made all the stuff, but we have talked about doing it, and I think that we are going to give you guys something after this volume is over, just in the form of maybe like a very short like docu series, whatever. We'll just about
even more days that could be sick, like as the other songs come out and stuff. I'm pretty sure new questions will arise, and
yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, I just I can't wait for everybody to hear what we got going on.
Oh hell yeah,
Gonna be sick.
people from the interwebs, thank you so much. You're the best. Thank you for attending and being interested in whatever stupid shit we want to say. And Casey, I love you, dude.
I love you, man. Thanks for doing the live with me and answering these questions. And yes, agreed. Same sentiment. Thank you guys for being here. This was so much fun, and you all had fucking good questions. Dope fucking questions.
All right.
So, yeah.
See you later, my alligators.
Okay. I'm not saying it. I can't say.
Yeah, like how do I quit this?
I gotta do it.
Oh yeah, do that. All right, bye.
Okay, good night.